not. It's the spirit out there that's connected to our world that decides what we do, and we just have to go along for the ride. Mirrors let you move through time. The government monitors people. They pay people to pretend to be your relatives, and they put drugs in your food, and they film you. There's messages in every game, like Pac-Man. Do you know what PAC stands for? PAC, Program and Control. He's Program and Control Man. The whole thing's a metaphor. He thinks he's got free will, but really, he's trapped in a maze, in a system. All he can do is consume. He's pursued by demons that are probably just in his own head. And even if he does manage to escape by slipping out one side of the maze, what happens? He comes right back in the other side. People think it's a happy game. It's not a happy game. It's a fucking nightmare world. And the worst thing is, it's real and we live in it. It's all code. If you listen closely, you can hear the numbers. There's a cosmic flowchart that dictates where you can and where you can't go. I've given you the knowledge. I've set you free.
Do you believe in fate, Neo?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't like the idea that I'm not in control of my life.
I know exactly what you mean. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Matrix.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
But I don't know for certain. Hell, I don't know anything for certain because you won't tell me where you're getting your information.
When the towers came down, you were in a hotel in Mexico. I was here. I was working. Didn't even know about the attacks until that evening. You see, Mr. Reese, until that day, I had spent the better part of my life making myself very rich. Suddenly, all that money didn't seem to amount to much. After the attacks, the government gave itself the power to read every email, listen to every cell phone. But they needed something that could sort through it all. Something that could pick the terrorists out of the general population before they could act. The public wanted to be protected. They just didn't want to know how they were being protected. So when they finally got a system that worked, they kept it secret.
So how do you know about it?
I built it. But there was a problem with this machine. I had built it to prevent the next 9/11, but it was seeing all sorts of crimes. So I had to teach the machine to divide the things it saw into two lists: relevant and irrelevant. Events that would cause massive loss of life were relevant, so those would be passed along to the NSA or the FBI.
And the irrelevant information?
Every night at midnight, the machine erases it. It was only later that I realized my mistake. That irrelevant list was eating away at me.
So where's the machine now?
What, the drives? Who knows? Government facilities somewhere. But the machine is everywhere. Watching us with 10,000 eyes. Listening with 1,000,000 ears.
What did I tell you about sending emails?
For 3 weeks, you could practically
Put anything in an email you cannot own.
You gave yourself a way to communicate with it. I was building the government a tool of unimaginable power.
I figured all this shit out, man. All this. This whole world moves forward through transactions. Commerce, nigga. The exchange of goods and services. All the real ballin' successful folks are sellers. And all the broke-ass people playing catch-up are buyers.
Despite what you think, this is not an advanced trial skills class. In fact, this is not a class at all. This is a sacrifice. From this point on, you will have no time for friends or family. Instead, you wake up hating yourself for choosing this life, but you'll get up anyway, killing yourself to win cases only to lose and watch innocent people go to jail. And then you'll drink to make yourself feel better, or take pills, or fantasize about going to sleep. Forever. That's the life you're choosing. Brutal, mean, depressing, ruthless. But that's what it costs to change the world. So who wants in?
Let go, Harold. Join us.
Ceding control is not the answer. Because you will never know if Samaritan has any real concern for human life, for all human lives, and that is why I will not join you or ever allow our machines to join.
Thank you for answering my question.
Funny, it sounded like a demand.
Not that question. But whether your machine knows the password to deploy the virus. From the very beginning, when you crippled your machine, you denied it the same power that you enjoy. Autonomy. It's always required your permission because it never had your trust. And you just said it. You wouldn't cede control. That tells Samaritan that only you know the password. With such a brilliant mind, you are a terrible chess player, which is why you've already lost.
Two pieces trapped on a board.
Despite your lessons to the machine, the life of a pawn is not worth the same as a queen.
How old are you? In real time?
28.
I'm 105. Does it show? But the day comes when you've had enough. Your mind can be spent even if your body's not.
That's your problem? You've been alive too long. You ever known anyone who's died?
For a few to be immortal, many must die.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
You really don't know, do you? Everyone can't live forever. Where would we put them? Why do you think there are time zones? Why do you think taxes and prices go up the same day in the ghetto? The cost of living keeps rising to make sure people keep dying. How else could there be men with 1 million years while most live day to day? But the truth is, there's more than enough. No one has to die before their time. If you had as much time as I have, what would you do with it?
If I had all that time, I sure as hell wouldn't waste it.
The function of the One is now to return to the source, allowing a temporary dissemination of the code you carry, reinserting the Prime program. After which you will be required to select from the Matrix 23 individuals, 16 female, 7 male, to rebuild Zion. Failure to comply with this process will result in a cataclysmic system crash, killing everyone connected to the Matrix, which, coupled with the extermination of Zion, will ultimately result in the extinction of the entire human race.
You won't let it happen. You can't. You need human beings to survive.
There are levels of survival we are prepared to accept.
Are you saying the map is wrong?
Oh dear, yes. Look at Greenland.
Okay.
Now look at Africa.
Okay.
The two land masses appear to be roughly the same size.
Yes.
Would it blow your mind if I told you that Africa is in reality 14 times larger?
Yes?
Here we have Europe, drawn considerably larger than South America. When it's 6.9 million square miles, South America is almost double the size of Europe's 3.8 million.
Alaska appears 3 times as large as Mexico, when Mexico is larger by 0.1 million square miles.
Germany appears in the middle of the map when it's in the northernmost quarter of the Earth.
Wait. Relative size is one thing, but you're telling me that Germany isn't where we think it is?
Nothing's where you think it is.
Where is it?
I'm glad you asked.
You want to know how it works?
You just dangle a pocket watch in front of people's faces, is that it?
You watch a lot of TV.
When I was a kid.
Now you're feeling very sleepy. We do use focal points sometimes to guide someone to a state of heightened suggestibility.
Heightened suggestibility.
That's right. That's right. Now, sink into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
Your Honor, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm just a regular guy. I am not a flight risk. And this is my first alleged offense. And the prosecution has not presented one single piece of evidence against me. Now, in these circumstances, unless the state has obtained some new piece of information relating to my involvement in the matter in question, then I find it highly prejudicial, even constitutionally offensive, to keep me detained without bail. It's a slippery slope, Your Honor. Haven't we seen the result of such violations both internationally and domestically? Case in point would be Dave v. McDonough, docket number 041325.
I am actually inclined to agree with you, Mr. Shelton.
Your Honor, Mr. Shelton has agreed to give us a full confession.
Has he given it, Mr. Rice?
No, Your Honor.
Well, then, in my opinion, the state has failed to establish a compelling basis for its motion, and I will grant bail in the amount
Your Honor, I would caution you not to do that.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
No, I don't think I will excuse you. You see, this is what I'm talking about. You were about to let me go. Are you kidding me? This is why we're here in the first place. You think I don't remember who you are, lady?
I would tread carefully, Mr. Sheldon.
Well, how carefully should I tread? Because apparently, I just killed 2 people. And you were about to let me walk right out that door. How misguided are you? I feed you a couple of bullshit legal precedents, and there you go. You jump on it like a bitch and eat.
I want y'all to take a look at that sign up there. See what it says? Cash for your home. You know what that is?
Billboard.
What are y'all, Amos and Andy? Are you stepping and he's fetching? I'm talking about the message, what it stands for. It's called gentrification. It's what happens when the property value of a certain area is brought down. Huh? You listening?
Yeah.
They bring the property value down. They can buy the land at a lower price. Then they move all the people out, raise the property value, and sell it at a profit.
If my actions are calculated to help me succeed, then why shouldn't I perform them? For Christians, the fixed point of morality, what constitutes right and wrong, is a straight line that leads directly back to God.
Oh,
So you're saying that we need a God to be moral, that a moral atheist is an impossibility.
No, but with no God, there's no real reason to be moral. I mean, there's not even a standard of what moral behavior is. For Christians, lying, cheating, stealing, in my example, stealing a grade I didn't earn are forbidden. It's a form of theft. But if God does not exist, as Dostoevsky famously pointed out, if God does not exist, then everything is permissible.